Hello, friend, and welcome to the Shannon Blanchard podcast. I am so happy to have you here. Today, we are going to be talking about doing it in the dark, how to keep moving forward when you feel like your business isn't going anywhere. I first heard this term, doing it in the dark, from Seth Godin, and I thought that it was so fantastic because it really describes the feeling when you're having this experience of, I am doing everything in my business. I'm looking back at the last month, 2 months, 6 months, the last year. I feel like I've been doing everything and I'm not getting the results that I want. Like, I don't even see the results. That is so frustrating. I've been there numerous times in my business before, and I want to talk about how to keep moving forward when you're in this place because I understand firsthand just how challenging it is. Now, what we're going to talk about today is really not about motivation and trying to build up motivation to just keep pushing forward. We all know motivation is a fickle lady. She's here one day and she's gone the next. So instead, what you need are a concrete plan to get to where you want to go, and you need the focus and clarity to be driven and keep moving forward. If you listen all the way through to this episode today, and let me tell you, I'm going to walk right up to the finish line to the very last moment of this episode because I have 8 pages of notes that I want to chat through with you to help you. I'm really excited to be talking about this. So if you listen all the way through, you will walk away with clarity on what your goals are. You will understand what action to take to make those goals a reality, and you will have that drive and focus that you need to keep moving forward. So you're going to walk away with really tangible tools that you can actually implement right away to help you through this phase. Now, the one thing that I think is so funny is that when you start a business, what nobody tells you about entrepreneurship is you start your business in this phase for 99% of people anyways. Some people get lucky and they get clients, a week, 2 weeks after launching. Amazing. Love that for you. Couldn't have been me. Most of us start out and we have such high hopes, high dreams. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get clients. I'm going to be booked out. I'm going to start making so much money. Amazing. And then the reality sets in week 1, week 2, week 3, month 1, month 2. And you're like, why am I not booked and busy right now? Why am I not having clients line up out the door for me? You thought that it was going to be this amazing, effortless thing. And the reality is it is a matter of time. If you are in that experience right now where you are building your business, you are getting started and you're experiencing this phase of doing it in the dark, or maybe you're later on in your business and you're experiencing it, because that's another thing I will say. This happens multiple times in your business. I am just on the tail end of one right now. And because I've been through this numerous times of putting in the work and the results are not immediate and you feel like things aren't changing, you're not getting the progress that you want. Because I've had that experience numerous times, it no longer freaks me out. I don't panic about it anymore. But also, I can tell when I'm on the tail end of it. I can tell when I'm coming out of it. And a big part of that has to do with implementing the things that I'm going to share with you today. But all of this is to say that no matter where you're at in your business, if you are experiencing this phase or you have experienced it before, just know you are not alone. I'm right there with you. And so is every single other successful entrepreneur in the world, might I just say. They have all gone through this. So you're in really fantastic company. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about today is actually a question. Because here's the thing. If you cannot answer a resounding yes to the question I'm about to ask you, the truth is, I want to be honest with you. Nothing else that I'm going to say today is going to matter. Nothing else I'm going to say is going to be helpful for you. And I don't want to waste your time. So I want you to, I'm being serious. I want you to really think truthfully and honestly with yourself about the question that I'm about to ask you so that we can all make sure we are on the same page. Here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Am I willing to keep showing up and doing the work to build my business even if I knew that I would not get results for a year plus? Am I willing to show up and do the work, grind it out, even if I knew I wasn't going to see any results from that work for a year plus? Here's why I'm asking you this question. If you are an online service provider, like a virtual assistant, OBM, project manager, etc., you absolutely should be seeing results in less than a year. If you are checking the boxes, you've got the strategy, you're consistent, etc., you without a doubt should be seeing results in well under a year. However, you need to go off of the assumption that it's going to take you over a year to see results. The reason why I say that is because when you are working in the online space, it is a time game. You are just working against your own mindset and your own endurance to withstand this time of feeling like nothing is happening. If you are consistent, if you have the strategy, all of these things, you will see results. You absolutely will. So many people give up right before they were about to be successful because they just did not have the patience and the endurance to withstand this phase, because it is very hard. But this is what I want you to understand, that it shouldn't take you a year, but you need to go into it with the assumption that it's going to take you over a year, because so many new online service providers are prioritizing results when they need to be prioritizing building. These two things are different stages. If you are in a results stage or a building stage, they're not the same thing, and they usually don't happen at the same time. So I want you to know that if you are in this phase right now, you're doing it in the dark, you need to focus on building. You have to focus on doing the work for the sake of it, not for the sake of seeing results immediately. So if your answer to that question of, am I willing to show up and do the work even if I didn't see results for over a year? If your answer to that is a resounding yes, because I've got the vision, I know the life I want to build for myself, and even if it means that it's going to take time, I'm all in. Amazing. Let's dig in. We're going to talk through 5 different things today to help you through this phase of feeling like you're not making any progress. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about has to do with goals. So when it comes to goals, of course, we have short-term and long-term goals. When it comes to your long-term goals, dream big, have a huge vision, be delusional, unrealistic, all of those things. I love it. I love having a huge dream, a huge vision. When it comes to your short-term goals, however, that's what I want to dig into today, because with your short-term goals, you have to start where you are at in your business. So the one condition that I have for short-term goals, and when I say short-term goals, for me, I'm thinking something like the next 3 to 12 months. It has to be something that can fit within that time frame. So the condition I have for short-term goals is it needs to be 100% within my control and 100% attainable within that short-term time frame. It needs to be something that I can achieve without anyone else being involved. So for example, let's say that I said, okay, my goal is in the next 6 months, I want to grow my Instagram account to 10,000 followers. I have 1,800 followers right now on Instagram, which, by the way, go follow me at Shay.Blanchard. But you can see going from 1,800 to 10,000 is a huge leap. And the problem with that goal is not only is that not really attainable in that time frame, most likely, but also I can't control when people choose to follow me. That is not something that is within my control. So that's not really actually a goal. That is just a wish. I don't like to waste time on wishful thinking. I like to make sure that I am setting goals that I can achieve, especially because your goals, your short-term goals especially, should be working for you. So often we feel like our goals are this thing that's kind of outside of us. I hope I meet the expectation I set for myself, I hope I reach that bar and make it happen. Your short-term goals should be working for you and making your life actively better. So here's what I want you to do in order to do that. I want you to make a list of short-term goals that you can accomplish within the next 3 to 12 months. And I want you to ensure two things: that every single goal is 100% within your control, and it is absolutely attainable for where you're currently at. And I don't want you to have a list of 30 different items. I recommend, when it comes to short-term goals, keeping it under 5. I know that seems like honestly a really small number, and you can feel what resonates for you here. If you're like, no, Shannon, I want 10. Like, that's what feels right. Of course, you know what's going to be best for you, but it's my recommendation that you play with just having 5 or fewer short-term goals, because I want you to check these bad boys off your list and build momentum. That is how your goals will work for you. If they are set up in such a way where you will accomplish them and you can check them off, know that you did it, and it will create a sense of momentum and progress for you. So in the example of, I want to reach 10,000 followers, that goal, instead of saying, I want to reach X number of followers, the goal would be something like, I want to post on Instagram 3 times a week for the next 6 months. That is something that we know is within your control. You can gauge whether or not that is absolutely attainable for you, and you know the why behind it. Every goal needs to have a strong why. My why is, I want to get the followers, but I'm not going to make that my goal because I can't control that. So instead, I'm going to look at what is within my control, and I'm going to make that my goal. And like I said, you really need to assess for each goal when you are determining if it's something that is attainable for you. Don't just think about, is this a good idea? Or, okay, everybody else says you should be posting 4 to 5 times a week, so I guess I should do that. Don't just think about things that are, in quotes, a good idea, based on popular advice. Really think about, is this actually attainable for where I'm at in my business, and grow from there. You have so much time, all the time in the world, to create even bigger goals, but just set goals right now that you know you can cross them off and get them done. So as a reminder, the 2 questions you're going to ask for each of your goals are, is this 100% within my control? And is this attainable for where I'm at in my business? Now from here, I want to talk about the second tool, which is clarifying your results-driven actions. So now that you have your list of goals, for each one, I want you to get really clear and think about what actions you are going to take that will create results for you. Oftentimes, we are doing a lot of busy work in our business without even necessarily noticing it. So maybe it's something like you are constantly tweaking your onboarding process. You fine-tuned the messaging on your website 100 times. Or you spend hours making a single post because you want it to be absolutely perfect. None of those things are bad actions to take. Those are all good things to do within your business. But here's the problem. None of those things are going to actually bring you any results. They are not going to move the needle forward in any tangible way. And so what happens is, a lot of times we will look back and say, oh my gosh, the last 6 months I've been putting in work. I have worked day and night. I am doing everything I need to do. We feel like we've put in a lot of work and we're not getting results. But when you actually look at, honestly, and I do this myself, I'll ask myself, okay, well, what really have you been doing for the last 3-4 months? And when I truly look at my actions honestly, sometimes it's a whole lot of busy work. And I will say, part of the reason why this happens is because sometimes we have this subconscious resistance to doing the work that will actually bring results, because we have a fear that if we do the things that we know should bring results and they don't, then we're going to feel like an absolute failure, and we're going to feel like we're out of options. Like, I actually did everything and it didn't work. What do I do now? It is much better to our brains to feel like there's always something else we can do. rather than to feel like I did it all and it didn't work. But if you resonate with that, let's just take care of it right here and now, because the truth is there are always more paths that you can take. There are always new ideas you can try. There is always a path that will get you to where you want to be. Always, period. But the thing is, you just have to start with a path that is in front of you. And as you do it, and as you make mistakes or things don't work out, you will figure out what step to take next. But that is why sometimes we have this subconscious resistance of like, oh, what if I do it and it actually just doesn't work for me? That's something that I wanted to mention in terms of clarifying what action to take, is really thinking about, is this moving the needle forward? Because so often we have this tendency to actually do things that are in fact not moving the needle forward. So to clarify the needle moving action that you need to take, look at each of your goals and ask yourself for each one, what steps do I need to take? What action do I need to take that will realistically bring this to fruition? And from there, for each of those steps that I need to take, how frequently do I need to do them? So to put this entire process together for you so you can see what it looks like in action, let's go back to the goal of posting on social media 3 times a week. That is my goal. I know my why, and I'm going to start by asking myself, is this 100% within my control and 100% attainable for me? And I'm going to say yes. For those things, for me, for where I'm at, I can manage that. That is realistic and doable for me. Okay, now I'm going to clarify what actions to take. So I'm going to think through, if I want to post 3 times a week on social media, what are the things that I have to do for that? Well, I have to create the content, I have to write captions, I have to post the actual content. You get the idea of the kinds of things that need to get done, right? Then I'm going to go through each one of those tasks and I'm going to say, how frequently do I need to do it? Okay, well, creating content, maybe I decide I'm going to batch it. So 1 time a week, I'll create the content. 1 time a week, I'll write the caption. And then 3 times a week, I will post it. This results in a list of clear action you need to take. You know how frequently you need to take it, and you know that the goal you are aiming for will happen. You will bring it to fruition. Do you see this entire process here? It is so simple. It's stupid. It's so simple and straightforward, but here's what I love about it. It is manageable. It is straightforward. It's attainable for you. And the other thing is that because you have this path where you know these steps are going to lead to this result, which is going to help me accomplish this goal, that I can't even tell you the ease and peace you will experience in your mind. When you have a mapped out plan to bring your goals to fruition, it's like your brain can rest easy knowing it's going to happen and it's not just wishful thinking. So it's going to actually believe that it is possible, that it is inevitable, that it's going to happen. And that is going to create so much momentum in your business. And this is a really important thing when you're in this phase of doing it in the dark. You are putting in the work, you feel like you're getting nowhere. What you have to have is a sense of internal momentum. I say internal because, of course, when we see external results, we're getting the followers, we're getting leads, we're getting clients. Of course, those things hype us up, make us feel amazing, and we feel this beautiful sense of momentum in our business, right? But that's not the only kind of momentum that you can have. You can generate internal momentum, and this is a fantastic way to do it, is to create goals that are clear, that are actionable, that you know you can do. So I probably someday will make a whole episode on momentum. You can tell me if that's something that you would be interested in, because I think it is one of the single most important tools that you can have in your tool belt as an entrepreneur. But I want you to really think about, when it comes to these short-term goals, like, okay, how can I create goals that are attainable for me, that are going to help me achieve and experience this sense of momentum? Now, the third thing that I want to talk about for when you are in this stage of feeling really stuck and stagnant in your business growth is to remind you to release the timeline. In our business, of course, as we've just talked about with the short-term goals, it's important to have things that we know, I want to accomplish this thing, I want to do it within this time frame. Those are all great. And it is the case that when it comes to that big picture vision that you have, the big goals that are really in your heart that you want to build, you have to release the timeline. And one thing that I really recommend you think about when you are considering your goals, and maybe you're having a day where you're feeling particularly discouraged, is I want you to ask yourself, okay, what if I just gave myself 10 years to bring this to life? I had a mentor say that to me on a one-on-one call when I was telling her, okay, I'm doing all of these things. Like, why is it not happening? And she would ask me, okay, well, are you doing this? Are you doing this? Are you doing this? I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I'm checking all of the boxes. Like, I am doing it. And she finally was just like, Shannon, sometimes we just can't control the timeline and you don't know when it's going to happen. So what if you just released the timeline and you thought about, if I gave myself 10 years to build this vision, would I think that it's possible? And the answer is absolutely yes. If I gave myself a decade, that's such a long time, right? I know it can happen. So what does that show to our brains when we say, oh yeah, I could do this in 10 years, heck, even 5 years? What that proves to our brain is, oh, so what I want is attainable. I know I can do it. I know in my heart it's possible. So I just need to focus on releasing the timeline, releasing that which I cannot control, which is time itself, and staying focused on the vision and just doing the things that I need to do, getting the work done that I need to get done to make it happen. So that's my reminder too, to let go of the timeline and to do the work without any attachment to the results happening in a specific time frame. Now, the next tool I want to talk about to support you in creating progress in your business is to build a life you love outside of your business. As entrepreneurs, we can be very obsessive types. I remember when I started my business, I would constantly dream about my business. I was up morning to night working on it. I would work on weekends. Like, I was all in. I was just really engrossed in what I was doing. And that can be really fun for a time, right? But ultimately, it's not sustainable. And what I realized at a certain point in my journey as an entrepreneur is, oh my gosh, like, nobody is coming to save me, save my business, and make things happen overnight. And so why am I putting off my joy, waiting for my business to be at a certain point? Why am I waiting until I have a certain result to feel content and happy? I have to focus on really building a life that I love outside of my business. So for me, that looked like picking up running. I started focusing on weightlifting more, reading more, even simple things like finding a new hike I wanted to try, new recipes, teaching my dog a new trick. Like, it sounds very simple, but these are real things that I have done to really focus on building a life that I love, because it is these very mundane things that make life meaningful and enjoyable for us, right? Now, the beautiful thing about doing this, and why I tell all of my students to have a life outside of their business, is because your business mirrors your personal life. It is a mirror for you. So all of the problems that you have in your personal relationships, the problems you have with yourself, with money, any little thing, all of those problems at one point or another are going to come to the surface in your business. That's why they say that entrepreneurship is self-development times 1,000, because it really is. Your business mirrors you. So what I like to do is I like to focus on, okay, what can I do in my personal life outside of my business to mirror that truth, that reality into my business? For example, if I am in a stage where I'm like, gosh, I'm really not feeling good in my business right now. Like, I'm feeling like a failure. I did this, and this, and it didn't bring anything. I'm not feeling good. What I'm craving is a feeling of success. I want to feel successful in my business. So I've identified that I want to feel this way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find ways in my personal life outside of my business that will help me feel successful. So that's why I pick up things specifically like running and weightlifting, things that will help me feel successful, because whenever you have a positive feeling in your personal life, it will reflect back into your business. It's going to bleed into your business. So maybe you're at a point in your business right now where you just needed this reminder that you have to focus on building a life you love. That's the whole point of starting your business. It's not just to have a business you love, it's to have an entire life that you love. And if you wake up feeling so freaking lucky every single day, you are excited for the day. You can't wait to get going every single day. That's how I wake up. I go to bed the night before. I'm like, I can't wait till it's morning and I can have my coffee and I can journal and I can get to work. Like, I'm so excited for the next day. Every single night. Creating that life for yourself isn't just about waiting for your business to get to a certain stage. It's about recognizing right here, right now, what can I do to build a life that I love? So build something that is meaningful and impactful for you outside of just your business. And I promise you, it will help you in this stage of feeling really stuck and stagnant. Let's get into this final topic I want to talk about today, because this is a really important one. When you are in a phase of you are just starting your business or you're feeling really stuck and stagnant, it is vital that you focus on protecting your energy, because realistically, where you are at right now energetically is very, very vulnerable. When you are in a stage of feeling stuck, when you feel like a failure, or you feel really stagnant, you feel frustrated, maybe you're angry, those things, when those emotions come up for me in my own business, I recognize those as being like a poison in my business. They can come up for a moment, that's fine. Sometimes we need, the sense of failure to be a good old kick in the ass and get us to get to work and get things done. But I know that they cannot stick around for long because they are so detrimental. They drag you down. So when it happens to me, I recognize, okay, I need a pretty immediate solution. I want you to have a list of ways. These are tools in your tool belt that can help you when you are feeling this way. So first thing right off the bat, I will just say, if I'm getting to work and I'm feeling real not good, I'm feeling like nothing's happening, I am never going to get to where I want, and my mind is going in this cycle of really negative talk, I close the laptop and I walk away. I'm like, I don't care. I will get through meetings that I needed to get through. The rest of it is not happening, and I will get out of the house in some way. I will let myself do something fun. I'll let myself trip to Marshall's, TJ Maxx. That can solve a lot of our problems. For me anyways. That is just I need something that's a quick mood boost. So closing my laptop and just stepping away from work for the rest of the day, I always give myself permission to do that when I know that it's going to be long-term more beneficial for me. So that's one thing for myself that I just want to encourage you, that maybe you need to do that sometimes too, but have those tools for yourself. So some more examples of what this looks like for me are going outside, going on a walk, getting movement in. As much as I oftentimes don't want to, I almost never want to go to the gym. I almost never want to go out on a run, but it's true. Movement is medicine, and it makes a huge impact in how I show up and how I feel in my business. So movement, I will stop scrolling on social media for a while. I know it's boring, it's you don't want to hear it, but it just is the truth. Some other things that I will do are put on music that I love, putting on a girly pop playlist, Sabrina Carpenter. I feel so much better. I love to dance. I will focus on meditating more. So you can see I've got a pretty long list of things that I know when I'm in this state. I can turn to any number of these things and they will all help me to feel better, because it's so important to protect your energy. So create that list for yourself and really think about what helps you feel better in those situations. So to close us out today, I'm going to give you a quick recap, and then I just have one more parting thought that I want to share with you. So our 5 things quickly were: A, creating clear short-term goals and asking the question, is this in my control, and is this attainable for where I am at? B, identifying what needle moving action to take. So it's asking for each goal, what action will bring it to fruition and how frequently does it need to happen? C, we've talked about releasing the timeline. We talked about building a fulfilling life outside of business. And then we also talked about protecting your energy. And I promise you, if you do these things, if you implement these things, they will help you tremendously to experience some progress and build that momentum in your business to help you get out of this stage. Now, the last thing I want to say, if you are in this stage of feeling like you are going nowhere, is to remind you that it will happen in time. Keep grinding it out. Keep doing the action you need to do. Keep showing up because it will pay off in time. Right now, it is invisible progress that you do not see, but all of the actions you are taking, it is money in the bank. It will pay off. So much of business, like I was saying earlier, is just a matter of time. It's just a matter of things lining up in exactly the right way. And I will tell you, now that I have years to look back on, I have so many stages throughout my business where I felt like nothing was happening, or I felt like something actively bad was happening in my business. And I look back now and I'm like, it could not have happened in more perfect timing. It was exactly what I needed. Always. Our businesses just have a beautiful way of always being the medicine that we need. So just remember, you are not alone. You are in freaking good company with all of the other successful entrepreneurs in the world who have been right there alongside you. And I promise you, you will get there. So keep showing up. If you are looking for help and support to keep showing up, if you need some accountability, somebody who can help you strategize your actions and what to do, check out my program, Lucky Day. If you haven't yet started your business or you don't have a real strategy in place for getting clients, you can join the waitlist for Lucky Day currently. The next round is kicking off in May. That's everything I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll chat with you soon. Bye.